You are not organized. Most organized section of conference.
Okay, can we close the door so we could start? See, I mean, people are covering us all at once. Yeah. Good afternoon, members of the media, and thanks once again for showing interest in the work of the African National Congress. With me here is the Treasurer General, Comrade Paul Mashatile, who's also in charge of the Secretary General's office, basically the one who commandeered all of us coming to this well-organized 6th National Policy Conference. TG, today's briefing really is about giving the media an update, overview on logistics, where we are, credentials, and all of that. So I'm going to hand over to the Treasurer General to talk to yourselves. Over to TG.
Thank you very much, Pule. Very good afternoon to all of you. I hope we didn't keep you for too long. See, Comrade Pule is a very busy man. He has to attend to many tasks, but at least we can have this briefing. Ideally, would have liked to give you a briefing much earlier in the day, but by yesterday when I left here, I felt that I might be getting flu, so I was advised to take something. Yeah, I take something so that I don't collapse. So let me say that our assessment now is that conference is going very well. You know that unlike the national conference, with the policy conference, we don't have all the branches. Normally in a conference of the ANC, the national conference, you'll have at least any branch in good standing will have at least one delegate present. With the policy conference, we just allocate a number to a province and say, for example, Gauteng will give you 150, you see how you allocate the numbers to the RECs, to the PECs, to the branches. So we don't really have all the branches. But we do emphasize to the provinces that the majority of the people who must be allocated must be those who are coming from branches. We had planned, of course, yesterday to start a bit early, but the first day is always a bit of a challenge with delegates traveling. The good thing, of course, is that there was no fight on credentials, as you have seen. Many provinces agreed that the credentials, the number of people who allocated them, and those who are here are correct. There was, of course, a bit of concern from branches from all over the country that we did not do an overview of state of organization. However, the NWC, in its wisdom, felt that that might detract delegates from dealing with policy matters, so that we get them focused. So we will do a proper organizational report for the national conference. For now, we urge delegates to use the policy documents that we have given them to look at the progress we have made with all the resolutions of the previous conference. So they've now gone today to the commissions. The first set of commissions today, starting this morning, we're focusing on looking at strategy and tactics and the balance of forces, and then to look at organizational renewal. We've also introduced a paper on gender equity and emancipation, and of course we gave guidelines on how commissions should work. So those commissions are done now. We've now gone to the next set of commissions, which are your sector commissions, where we're looking at issues of economic transformation, health and education, social transformation, media and communications. Those commissions are intended to meet until 6 o'clock. So by 6 o'clock they will be done, and then we will have dinner at 6. From 7 o'clock we go to plenary to begin to get report backs from commissions. We're obviously intending to work until midnight today, because tomorrow we don't have the time. Delegates must leave this place by lunchtime, the latest 2 o'clock. So we can't extend time beyond lunch tomorrow. So we're going to work late today. But what we will do, around 7 o'clock, when we start with commissions, report backs, we will then allow the chairpersons and the rapporteurs of those commissions to come out and brief you. So, for example, if we start our report with peace and stability, as soon as they are done, we allow them to come and do a briefing, social transformation, culture, legislation, international, all of them. But what we'll do, we will start with the first ones, strategy and tactics, organizational renewal. I know that some of you will be interested in issues like step aside, which will be coming from these commissions. The commissions up to 6 o'clock now are discussing the same thing, balance of forces. So the issues of step aside will arise there. I obviously couldn't go through to all commissions, but the report I've received from the team is that the discussion in all commissions are very cordial. There are no disruptions. Even on the issue of step aside, comrades have been allowed to express their views. So by the time we brief you this evening, you'll have a sense of what is the consensus on that matter and many other matters that may arise from the commissions. The idea, of course, is that we don't want really to come up with too many new policies. We want our delegates to review existing policy or policies, see how we can strengthen these policies. I think there and there we may introduce new policies, but in the main, it's a review process. The good thing with the policy conference is that it doesn't have to have final decisions because it recommends to national conference. So where there is no consensus, we're going to allow further debates that will go back to branches. But we are hoping that on a number of issues, we will have a consensus. So far so good. We are happy. Discussions are going well. There's no howling, there's no fighting. We have agreed with the chairs of all commissions that they must allow comrades to speak. Nobody must be suppressed, and that is happening. So by this evening, you will begin to get the results of those discussions. For now, we don't want to report any matter with respect to those discussions because we may preempt them. They are not yet done, but surely after dinner, you will begin to get proper results until midnight. So, Pule, if maybe we should allow members of the media, if there's anything specifically you'd like us to brief you on, we would gladly do so.
No, thanks, TG. And just to also confirm, TG, that strategy and tactics, organizational renewal, and constitutional implications, gender equity and emancipation of women, as well as combating state capture and corruption, those briefings have already taken place. So Comrade Jeff, Comrade Phoebe, Comrade Gwen, and Comrade Tabang, as soon as they were concluding their presentations to plenary, they then came back to do what you said will be done with the other presentations. So I'll now open the floor for questions. Oh, hey, I like how you raise your hand. Okay.
It's Christian de Plessis here from Nasrec 24. TG, so I wanted you to confirm whether all ANC workers have been paid their salaries. Gwen Ramaphosa said that there were about 20 who didn't receive their salaries, and that the fundraisers, the money that was going to be raised by the fundraiser was going to be used for the salaries. Can you just explain how far that is, and also just explain why this is a recurrent thing where workers don't get paid their salaries? Thank you.
Okay. We can start with you, and then we take you at the back. Okay. We'll come to this one. Just take
good afternoon. My name is Velim Tiane from the SABC News. With regards to Integrity Commission of the ANC, are there any policy proposals to strengthen it as a powerful entity within the ANC in terms of making decisions? Why I say so, it's because they do make recommendations to the Secretariat Office and then obviously to the NEC, but whatever findings that they have, they cannot see through that they're being implemented. Are there policy proposals to strengthen the Integrity Committee of the ANC?
Okay. Policy proposals to strengthen the Integrity Commission of the ANC. In the back, and then is the last hand this side, and then we come this side.
Thanks. TG, this is Natasha from the Financial Mail. I know you said there was no organizational report, but is there any chance you can give us an idea of the size of the provinces, how they've changed from Nasrec? How many, which is the biggest province, if you can't give us exact numbers, second largest? I'm sure that you guys have done those calculations in deciding on the delegations. Thank you.
Okay. Liz, I got this side.
Zegatando from the Mail and Guardian. TG, just to add on to what Natasha is saying in terms of the credentials, can you just give us clarity on how these delegates were selected, the delegates who are participating in this conference? There's a letter that came to your office at Luthuli House from the Free State disgruntled members who were questioning how the selection process was undertaken. So how exactly did this happen? And secondly, in terms of the commissions, Has there been a discussion around the president and the scandal around him? Has there been any sort of discussions there? And the NWC, there was, Tatu Jeff Khadebe had said that the NWC discussed the matter on Tuesday. Yet Umamlindiwe said that there was no discussions around the president appearing at the Integrity Committee. Were there any discussions, and what did the NWC conclude on?
Okay. Gavin?
Oh. So.
Yes, you can go on. Is it, you want to, no, you can go and then Gavin will be the last one.
My name is Norman Masongweni from City Press. In his opening address, the president indicated that the ANC is at its weakest since 1994. Was there any discussion to map the way forward and to remedy the situation, and what causes it if you have such a discussion?
Okay. Last one, Gavin. Okay, Braden, we will take the last one. So it's only this round, TG, and then we close it.
Thank you. It's Gavin Whittles from ENCA. Mr. Mashatile, on Friday you said that the ANC hoped to raise between 7 and 8 million rand from its delegates attending this conference to pay for the bill through registration fees. How much have you been able to raise? Thank you.
Okay, Braden.
Thank you. Just an overriding question that is sort of top of mind because of this policy conference that's 5 months before the National Elective Conference. Mr. Mashatile, you are the Treasurer General, but you are also the Acting Secretary General, from what I understand, of the organization. The organization has just lost its Deputy Secretary General, J.C. Duarte. So the Secretary's office currently does not have a permanent Secretary General. Ace Makhashula is suspended. You are acting. Capacity-wise, are you confident that in the next 5 months you'll be able to organize the National Elective Conference successfully to achieve its objectives? You are calling for renewal. You want fresh members, you want fresh ideas. I mean, isn't just a big task for you, or are you managing?
Okay. Over to TG.
Thank you very much. Let me start with a question on salaries. The question was, what have we done with that problem? We paid salaries. Why is it recurring? It's not a new problem, let me put it that way. When I came in as Treasurer General of the ANC, the ANC had biggest challenges with funding to the extent that we had very few resources, and we're sitting with huge historic debts of more than close to 300 million. We had to start raising money to pay those debts, and our salary bill at the time was standing at 18 million rand per month. Now, you know that as an NGO, we are not a business, so we don't have income. 70% of our donations come from the private sector. So if they don't give us money, we struggle. So I'm sure all of you will say, but why are you relying on the private sector? Can't you do something else? Yes, we did. We asked the government to increase party funding. They have done so, but not substantially. So we're going to go back again to government to increase party funding. We are also proposing that we increase membership fees and levies of our own members, members of parliament, ministers. We don't want to throttle them. So those increases won't be huge, maybe 5% or so. But we do get about 12% of our income from our own members, from membership fees and levies, 18% from government. The biggest remain the private sector. Now, many of you will remember that once government introduced, or let me say Parliament introduced legislation for disclosure, many business people started to be reluctant to donate. But secondly, the new legislation kept donation to 15 million rand per annum. So it made the funding environment a bit more difficult. But I can indicate that we have already paid June salaries already on Thursday. We will pay the July salaries week after next. We're getting more resources next week, so we will communicate with our staff. We've paid medical aid. And the officials of the ANC, that is the President, Deputy President, the National Chair, and myself, have had a session where we're looking at sustainable funding of the organization. We had this discussion a week ago, so there are plans that we are coming with that will make sure we can put this problem behind us. So I know that out there people have been saying, well, you know, you guys are not caring, you know, people have not been paid and so on. One thing we did, when everybody was retrenching, even during COVID, we did not. We have not retrenched even one person from Lutulias, not one. Everybody's still on payroll. We struggle along, but we haven't put anybody in the streets. And we are not going to do it. So we care about our people, and we are going to ensure that we come with a sustainable way of making sure that they can be paid. Somebody was saying to me, why don't you retrench? No, we're not going to retrench, but what we're going to do, we're going to right size. In other words, make sure that we have the core of people you need at head office in provinces. So we've asked provinces to take over people that they need to run our payroll. And some of the people make sure that if they can do work in other NGOs, you talk to them to go there rather than put them in the streets. But in the long run, we do need a smaller component of staff than we have at the moment. We have to reduce, but not throw people in the streets. The Integrity Commission, we agreed that it should be strengthened. One of the issues that was raised sharply is that we need to tighten up appeal mechanisms, because sometimes comrades appear before the Integrity Commission, but they feel that, you know, they can explain themselves. If they are told to step aside, there should be a proper mechanism for appeal. The Integrity Commission has also come to the Secretary General office and say we need more resources, like people to help us with administrative support and so on. We are helping them with that. The size of provinces, you know, the policy conference is not a good place to determine that kind of information, because yes, we bring people who are members in good standing, but you know, because you don't bring all branches, you can't say this is the biggest province. But we have seen, when we look at our membership generally, we have a sense that the province that seem to be the biggest province at the moment is KZN and Mpumalanga. They've got more members, and then of course Limpopo, and then followed by others, Gauteng, so on. But the differences are not huge, because since the advent of COVID in 2020, people were not able to recruit, renew, and so on. But we're encouraging them now in this period to start doing that, because we are going to start with a process for national conference. How were delegates chosen? We said to them, make sure that at least the biggest number 60% comes from branches, the rest are allocated to the PEC, RECs. I know that there was an issue with the Free State where some branches said they were not, instead of them bringing a delegate was taken from the IPC, which is the equivalent of the PEC. We discussed that with the Free State and corrected most of that. It was about eight branches that were affected. Was there discussion on the president? No. The reason is that we agreed that the president is going to appear before the Integrity Commission. So we don't want to preempt that process. The president has gone there voluntarily, by the way. He has not been called, he went. The first meeting, not all members of the Integrity Commission were present, but on the past few days, I think it was before we started with this conference, on Wednesday or Tuesday, the president did meet with the Integrity Commission again. They have not completed their discussions on the matters. So once it's done, we will get the report. So there's no need for conference to discuss the issues around the president, because there are also investigations that are taking place within the state. The president said the ANC is at its weakest at the moment. Yes, we're not as strong as we used to be. That's true. And there are many reasons to that. And let me go a little bit back. When immediately after the unbanning, the ANC attracted many people in its ranks. You will recall that we used to boast that we have more than 1 million members, which is true. But that came with its own problems. There are many people who came into the ANC for wrong reasons. And instead of strengthening the ANC, they actually weakened it by their behavior. We started having more problems of discipline and so on. So whilst in numbers we grew, in terms of quality, we became weaker. We did strengthen our political education committee to begin to bring these new members to be inducted, to be educated on the ways of the ANC, its values, but it will take time. It will take time. There are people who are coming, joining the ANC because they think it's an opportunity to be a councillor, to be an opportunity to be an MP, MPL, to be a premier. So you have that kind of environment where you have people who have their own interests. We then discussed and decided that because we are being weakened, we have a lot of people who are deploying, they get involved in corruption, and then the public says the ANC is corrupt. What do we do? We then decided we need to renew the ANC. It's going to have its own consequences because it means you may allow fewer people into the ANC than you would otherwise do. But we believe that fewer but better. You can't just bring people who come to mess up the organization. So organizational renewal, amongst others, is going to look at those things. What is the quality of a member that must be in the ANC? What do we teach them? What is it that is not allowed in the ANC? And our processes in the ANC must be so tight that if you, do wrong things, there's some digressions, we must act and act swiftly against such people. There must not be dilly-dallying that, no, this is a comrade who's in the PEC or NEC. We must act against anyone without fear or favor. That's how we're going to renew the ANC. We must move into the future with the kind of caliber of comrades or cadres that the communities can trust, that they know that they will go in there and fight corruption and make sure that the ANC can be trusted by communities. We will make the ANC stronger again when we do that. Have the right people, but also address the kind of issues that people are raising on the ground. That's why we said to comrades in the discussion that don't waste the whole day discussing step aside. Talk about what do people want out there. In some areas, people are complaining about water. People are complaining about jobs, roads. Those must be your priorities, because if you spend the whole day discussing step aside, it's like you are inward looking. You're looking at yourself. Yes, it's important that you clear those things, but prioritize the people. And that's what the commissions are doing now. When we go out here, what is the plan of the ANC to create jobs? What is the plan of the ANC to address the problems of poverty, gender violence, violence against women and children? What is our plan? What's our program? So that's what we are doing. And I do hope that as we move towards the national conference in December, the ANC will once more become a strong organization, espousing values that people can relate to, values of integrity, with cadres who are selfless, who are disciplined, who put people first. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do it. That's how the ANC is going to survive. If we don't do that, people are going to say, this ANC doesn't care about us, they care about themselves, so we need to do a turnaround. Registration fees, yes, I must say that our comrades have responded very well. And by the way, the registration fees have not been very cheap. We made sure that members come to the party, and they did. All provinces paid for their delegates, the leagues, all members of parliament, ministers, NEC members, all of them paid without complaining. And we think that's the best way to run an organization. Its members must be the first ones to say we are going to pay, and they are doing it. We don't have the amount at the moment. They are busy reconciling, but I can say that it's been very positive. Also, some of you will recall, we also had a dinner, gala dinner on Wednesday. I know somebody wrote an article and said, nah, it was not well attended, it was just themselves. No, it's not true. Business people were there. They were there. I was very happy they attended, and they contributed generously so that the ANC can be able to do its work. So we're trying various ways to make sure that the ANC can and should survive going forward, and it will. It has to, because we have a big challenge ahead of us to transform this country, transform this society, to make sure that our people get a better life. We will brief you again later where we are with the discussions on the sector commissions. As soon as a commission is done, they will come here and do a briefing. We're going up to midnight, because tomorrow we don't have the time. So please don't go to bed. Stay with us until we're done today. Thank you very much. And let me also, maybe I should say, I would like to thank you. Pule told me that, initially we said we want 200 members of the media, and I was told no, 453 have registered. We are very happy with that. It cost us a bit more money, but it's fine. Thank you very much.
No, thanks, because we're going to come back, we'll then be able to. Otherwise, we might just be opening for many other follow-ups. Should I allow it? Okay.
Thank you. I'm really sorry, TG, acting SG, Mr. Mabe. My name is Sam Kokeli. I'm really sorry to punish you and keep you. I would imagine you're rushing back. I would imagine the person listening to yourselves is also feeling punished because you're not answering a single question. The office of the SG, for example, the predecessor, Gwede Mantashe, had 10 years of saying the things you just did. So did Khalima Motlante. So it's sounding like you're being religious about this renewal. There's no solution. I would imagine the political scientists in the room can work out with a very strong conviction that the ANC will fall below 50% in 2024. I'm not getting a sense that there's a single answer to anything, and you're referring to issues that the policy matters need to be rolled. I mean, it's really shocking that how the ANC sees the policy needs for South Africa right now. I would imagine the issue is about the ANC's capability to do any policy. You've run these policy conferences for 6 years now. The first MGC in 2000, the former president, Mbeki, then president, talked about the issue of a better fewer, but better. The thing you're referring to, Mr. Mashatile. I mean, these things have been said a million times. Are you really being serious about the survival of the ANC first, and also leading South Africa out of the troubles that South Africa faces? Thank you.
The last question. Oh, yes. No, I see I didn't answer your question. I can see that. Let me start with that. Yes, what we did, you will recall that immediately after the local government elections, Comrade DSG was not well. Initially we thought it's fatigue, but she got sick. Immediately at that time, the officials decided we should assist. That's why I was asked to move in and assist the SGO. But later on we brought in Comrade Gwen Ramukopa as well as a coordinator. We also have 6 other NEC members at Luthuli House at the moment. We have agreed that we'll continue to assess if there's a need for more support, but at the moment we have been managing. We've been running regional conferences, provincial conferences, policy conference. We are starting next month in August to prepare for December. Because by September the branches are starting with BGMs. So we are reinforcing the office. I'm spending a lot of my time as well ensuring the Secretary General's office is running properly. So, but then it's going to work. We've got the people who are capable there. We're pulling all the resources in place, and we're going to start early. So we're going to make sure that we have enough time, because the national conference is going to be twice bigger than this. We're expecting 4,000 delegates just from the branches. Now if you start adding other categories, I'm sure media will be 800. So it's going to be a big conference. We're expecting probably no less than 6,000-7,000 people in this vicinity. So it means we must organize early, organize properly, but we are starting next month. There is already the National Conference Preparatory Committee that I'm leading, and we are starting with that process. The last question, let me just say that Let me just say that, yes, there has been a number of policy conferences, a number of periods where we review policy. You know, reviewing policy is not something that you can do once in your lifetime. It's ongoing. The critical issue is whether after you have reviewed, you are able to intervene to ensure implementation and correct the weaknesses. And that's the purpose of this policy conference. We have said to members, tell us how we're going to fix it. Don't fix what is not broken, but where there's a problems, how do we fix it? Focus on implementation. Don't tell us about new policies. The policies that are there, are we implementing them? In fact, most of the comrades who spoke from provinces were saying to the leadership, tell us why this has not been done. What are the problems? So that we know what to do. So that we don't go out here and we are happy we had a weekend together. We must be happy that we have found solutions. So if you ask me, is the ANC capable of that? The answer is yes, it is. We're going to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, TG. We'll meet with yourselves later on. They can actually attest themselves, TG, the good organization here. They even have got their own media lounge that side, fed lunch, cubicles where they work from. They even took our interview room here, the Sunday Times. That's how much we are taking care of the media here. Thank you very much. We'll see you later on.
Wat